Okay, so the big reveal. So it arrived a day early, which is always good. What isn't so good is the condition that my parcel arrived in. Thank you, Amazon Delivery. This is why I don't like ordering from you. Anyway, let's get this open. And here we go. This book, when you hold it in your hands, it's very, very heavy. It's even bigger than you can imagine. So look at that. So this is DC Finest Batman Year 1 and 2. Those are the headlining stories, but it covers Batman 401 to 412, Batman Annual 11, and Detective Comics 568 579. And there is 632 pages in it. It's $39.99. I got it on Amazon for about £26. The paper quality is lovely. It's it's like a not too glossy, and but a bit higher quality than matte as well. And what I love about what makes this special for me, this is when I started seriously getting into Batman. I liked Batman a bit when I was younger, but especially the Marshall Rogers one, which I got in like this little pocket digest. I think they were called Blue Ribbon or something, the digest. But this is when I really dove into Batman. It was after Crisis, or was it after Legends? I think it was. Yeah, 1986 was about the time I really got into Batman. It was Batman Dark Knight Returns that really made me fall in love with Batman deeply. But this is when I started collecting both Batman and Detective on a monthly period, a monthly basis. Great thing about the 80s, you didn't need to just go to the comic shop. News agents and other places sold American comics in the UK, so I could happily just pick them up. I was thinking at this time I was going to art college, so I could happily just pick them up after I finished art college, pop into the local news agents, and pick up my DC comics that way. So let's just have a look. And I harp on about this artist a lot, and the reason being, he deserves much more love than he gets. Not John Byrne, of course, but this artist here. So Trevor Van Eden is the opening artist. Barbara Randall is the writer. I'm not familiar with her, but oh my god, I love his artwork. I see. This is just it. I'm not, and already the art style is. This is before Batman Year One, but already Trevor Van Eden was doing this art style before Mazzucchelli was. And I think there's rumours going around that he was the artist that they'd like to have used for it, but they went with Mazzucchelli. But gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. See, I've got Batman Year One already, so I love that comic. But that's not what I'm bought this for. I bought it for the other comics, the other strips within, because this was when like I said, all the stories are great. You've got a great one after that by Klaus Janson. Look at that cover, just amazing. This was, like I said, the time of Legends, which was like the next big event comic after Crisis. I just love Klaus Janson on Batman. That's, that's better. I'm just doing this in my lunch break. It just got delivered before my lunch. And then you had Jim Starlin come on. I think I like Jim Starlin writing Batman more than drawing him, to be honest. I don't know if his art style is suited to Batman. So he's off quite well. This was a gold period for me because I was a huge fan of Alan Davis on Captain Britain. He did loads of 2000 AD and Marvel UK work, but when he came on here with Mike W. Barr writing, it had elements of the 60s Batman, but without the extreme campiness. But Batman suddenly starts calling Robin Chum, and for some reason, it worked. And I love Alan Davis's Catwoman, just wonderful. These were so good, and oh yeah, I'm getting excited now just looking through. I'll be diving into this very, 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 very soon. And then you've got Dennis Cowan coming on with Max Collins writing. So you've got some top tier creative teams on here. Batman's always. I think this is when Batman started using. We're like cherry picking what teams they could have. For me, this was much more exciting than what came later on with the 90s Batman's family of titles, which for a lot of people, that's when they first jumped on with Batman with the whole Night Quest, Nightfall, etc. But this, for me, was my period of Batman when I really, really fell in love. And then, of course, you've got Batman Year One. And what I like about this, they're using the original colours. So it's not got that modern colouring on it, and I love the original one much more than the new computerized style what they've got. I just think it's just much more impactful and of its time, and it reflects the story much better. And gorgeous art. What nothing else. I don't need to add to this more to this. What people have already said about this story. It's just a all-time classic. And then from there, I love the mapping on this, by the way. They've got the Batman Detective Comics anniversary issue, big bump one. I read this not so long ago digitally, and I had this, like I said, physically years and years ago, back in the 80s when it first came out. And this is the crossover of the two greatest detectives, Batman and Sherlock Holmes. And other characters as well. It's just a really fun comic. With a really good mix of artists. Nice Dick Sprang Batman. And then back to the regular team of Barr and Davis. I think for some reason I always think that's Jim Aparo, but it's not. But I just love that cover. Simplistic but effective. But yeah, just so nice. And then you move up. Batman suddenly had a facelift. Batman: The New Adventures, very street level, and Max Allan Collins became like the writer. But what was unusual with this one, it was a Dark Horse mainstay artist suddenly came on Batman, riding on the glory of his Predator comic and his Terminator comic, Chris Warner. I was a huge fan of his back in the day, and it still stands well. He's got very much like a much more like a bit like a chunkier version of Marshall Rogers kind of Batman. Max Allan Collins still on, but Ross Andru, a classic Batman artist, is on it in this issue. This is what I like about the 80s period. You had a lot of the artists still who were big in the 70s and 60s still doing work for the big two. But yeah, there was no weak stories really. The annual, I remember this annual, I loved this annual. Alan Moore writing this strip. George Freeman, who is a very underrated artist, about Clayface. It's brilliant examination on the psychology of Clayface. And then there's a backup strip by Max Allan Collins and Noam Brayfogle, who has become one of the definitive Batman artists, up there with Jim Aparo very easily. And this is where we start now with Batman Year 2, with the infamous gun cover. Mike W. Bard, Alan Davis doing the artwork. With this one, they've got the new colouring on it. I think they just basically lost the scans of the original colouring, so that's why this looks different. And then on this next issue, McFarlane comes on with Alfredo O'Kayla doing the inking. Gives quite a bit of grit to McFarlane's artwork. Changes his art, but you can still see it's Tom McFarlane as well. I'm a weird person. Yeah, I kind of liked him for a bit, but then I fell off the Tom McFarlane fan wagon. I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest. I much prefer artists like Alan Davis and that lot. He's just a bit too noodly for my liking. I know it's not. I mean, he's good, but I do think I think there's better people out there, to be honest. But cannot deny that spread is wonderful. But like I said, he's an excellent artist, but he's not one that I'd hunt out. But I used to go crazy for Alan Davis. I used to hunt out used to get the X-Men titles when he was on. And Arthur Adams was another one that I was a huge fan of back during this time period. Brett Blevins. And like I said before, Trevor Von Eden, Jim Aparo. I think this is him inking himself here. So it shows like it's more his true style. But I did find it a bit jarring with the new colouring, must admit. And then after that, there's this by Max Collins and Dave Cockrum and Don Heck on the artwork. So a big departure in style art-wise. It is a curious period, this, because the 80s was the cross-section where you have modern firebrands like McFarlane, Jim Lee, etc. coming on board. People who were making waves like Alan Davis. But then you had the old hands still having a lot of power and a lot of respect in the comics industry at the same time. And then here we have one who had a very long run from about this period onwards, Noam Brayfogle. Such a classic, amazing Batman artist, and such a tragic loss that we lost him so young. So that's it. There's no extras. You don't need more extras. I mean, it's over 600 pages. Like I said, it's very chunky. This, I'm very pleased I picked up. £26 is very cheap for this volume of material. I don't want to. Well, no, I'm going to bash Marvel. If Marvel did this, they'd split it in two and charge the same price for $2. It's true. The Epic collections are 350 pages, and the $44.99. Whereas it's $39.99, 620 odd pages. And yes, I'm going to be buying more in this range. Definitely. So keep watching this space for reviews of new DC's finest when they come out. Ones that pick my fancy. I'm tempted with the new Wonder Woman one out of this new batch of these recent releases, and I'm tempted by The Flash as well. So hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, that's it. Bye.